So I was living with this beautiful young sociopath named Krista. Uh, she had kind of got me wrapped up into her life with a combination of nakedness and amphetamine. And she was teasing me. And eventually she got married to this guy. I ended up living with her in the basement in the house. And he was on tour. He was a musician. She was this extraterrestrial creature that nobody could really quite figure out. Really brilliant, but really kind of corrupted somehow. And she loved amphetamine. She was always on amphetamine. So she decides we should go out to a bar one night. We go out, and it's typical. We just got drunk and just people, blah blah blah. It was Baltimore, and so you have like this trashy little dive bar. Like we have like these really crude bars that they don't have like here in Melbourne, where the place should have been condemned 10 years ago, but they still operate every day. And so drug dealers are out and about, and you're bumping into art students and hippies and homeless people. And we met these swingers, and they were like, why don't you come back to our place with us? And they took me and Krista to be a couple. And Krista was attracted to my mania. I don't think she ever found me physically attractive, but she just knew that this guy was something different. So that was the basis of our friendship. Anyway, so we go off with him, and turns out the guy is a musician and an established poet, all this, and a painter. And his paintings are all over the walls. And they want to get into this whole scene, right, that's going on. And it was completely their idea, because like I said, they were polyamorous or swingers, whatever you want to call it. And she happened to be a movie freak, and I'm a movie freak. So while Krista and the boyfriend are off talking about his paintings, we're rapping about Werner Herzog and so on and so forth. And we start making out, and next thing you know, my hands between her legs, and they come in from the back porch, and they're like, well, Krista doesn't really give a fuck, but he's like, what do you do with my girlfriend? I'm like, well, I thought you guys were hip. He says, well, I'm bisexual, so I want you too, And I'm like, well, what do I have to do, But this girl's really hot, and she's film literate, I would go through him to get to her, no problem, no. Especially my state of mind. I mean, come on, I hadn't been laid in a while. So she's like, well, you can make out with me. She'll blow you, but you have to make out with me while she blows you. I said, no problem. He's got a beard, which I wished he hadn't. I hate him when they ain't been shaved. Remember from Near Dark? Yeah? So that's going on, and it's like, wow, this is really kind of cool. This is hip, And it's, that kind of dies down. Krista's like, I'm gonna, if she tells her husband about the scene that I dragged her into. I mean, he couldn't beat me up, but he might be able to throw me out of his house because they had the lease on it. But I'm not even worried about that. So so they go back off to the kitchen, and he's trying to talk to Krista about getting Krista in. I want all four of us to be involved. And I'm just like going, yeah, do it, Krista, come on, fucking whatever, what his name was, he'll understand, And eventually I start making out with the girl again, and he comes back out of the kitchen with a samurai sword, and he's slashing through the air with it, He's like, I want you out of my house, and throwing this huge baby Huey tantrum about the whole thing, and I got away from her. I said, see, he's gonna hit me with that, isn't he? And she's like, I'm like, well, I better tackle him. So I waited for him to do one more swipe through the air, and I tackled him, got my knee on his wrist till he let go of it. And I had the blade then, and I said, Krista, get towards the back door. We're getting out of here. And they were on that side of the room, so we started backing out. And she's just shaking her head, and trying to talk him down. And he's like psychotic, but he's like a little guy. I wasn't really afraid of, but he did, he did have the sword. I was wondering what else he had, He was gonna pull out a gun next. So I'm like, well, now that I have the sword, we're just gonna move out. And being that we were going through the kitchen, I knew that they had bought a bunch of takeout beer, 3 6-packs in plastic bags. So I got my arm through the loops of all the plastic bags, and and I've got their beer with one hand, and I got the weapon with the other. I'm like, now I got your beer and your weapon, motherfucker, and your girlfriend just gave me a blowjob, so fuck you, try to kill me with a blade. You know, you can't even like wheel a paintbrush from evidence on display. So we're moving out of the house, and we did get out of there. And while once we're back out on the street, it's probably about 7:30 in the morning. The sun's up, and we've been there for a while. And there's this guy walking down. There's like the little guy limping behind the big guy, and the big guy comes up to me directly, and I still got the sword. I said, "What's that sword about?" You know, like, I'll talk to you if you put the sword down. So I just chuck the sword into an alley, and it's probably like a really expensive katana blade. They had a lot of money, these art kids. And he says, "Well, look, here's what's going on." And he pulls out this huge wad of cash. Like, I don't know if it was $20,000, $30,000. They were all $20 bills. And he's like, "Do you want to come out?" I'm giving my money away. I hit it big tonight. I just bought a bar, and I'll take you to the bar. But before, on the way to the bar, we're gonna give all this money out. What the fuck? Krista's just like, yeah. So we go to a McDonald's, right? And everyone's in line ordering their breakfast. And I had this huge wad of cash in my hand. He says, "Okay, just go through the line and just give everybody as much money as you want." So I have like a handful of 20s to this guy, to this guy, to this guy. And I'd never seen, like, people were really scared. Like, what's going to happen, you know, if I take all this money? And they even asked me, I said, "Just take it. We'll be out of here in 30 seconds. He just wants you to have the money." So we make sure everybody in there is plied with cash. And we walked up and down the street a few times, giving money out to all the people that were coming out, getting ready for work, coffee shops and things. And then the money was gone. And he said, "Well, I need more money. We haven't given enough away yet." So he went to an ATM, and the whole time we're sitting there waiting, and this retarded guy that was following behind him was like his assistant. He was like Igor, you know. It was like this Pavlov's dog, you know. So, you know, and I'm thinking, well, why would you send him to that? I guess the guy was too retarded to know how to use an ATM. He had to go and do it himself. The whole time we're sitting there looking at each other, and nobody knew what the fuck was going on. He finally came back with as much cash as he could get. It was probably only like $400. He said, "Well, the bar that I just bought is right up there. Like I said, I'm going to take you to the bar, and it's the most famous gay bar in Baltimore." And he actually had the key, and that didn't surprise me. You know, like, after you give away that much cash, if you say you have the key to a bar, you probably do. It lets us in, and there's gay porn still playing from the night before on all the monitors. And I go behind the bar and pouring drinks. I'm like, "Krista, get your cell phone out. I want you to take a picture of me serving drinks, because I've never been behind the bar before." And I started getting really mad at her because she wouldn't do it. I'm like, "Why? This is an amazing time, and you have the only recording device, of all of us, you know, on hand. So you got to get the goddamn shot, or else no one's going to believe the story." She's like, "Well, he already gave all the money away. You know, what about the sword?" "Yeah, the sword's gone too. It's fuck it, forget it. You know, you serving a drink. Why can't you get the picture?" "Well, I don't want to." I got really pissed about that. And then somebody went and took a dump in the toilet. It was me, actually. And the toilet overflowed. And I'm running around looking for a plunger, and the bathroom's a mess. And, you know, I'm like, "Oh, fuck it, I'll just do it in the morning." I'll go back behind the bar, and and serving up drinks. And people aren't even, I just want to, like, pour drinks. There aren't enough people in the bar to drink them all. And this goes on for like an hour or two, and I start falling over drunk, and this guy comes in, and he goes to the money man, and he says, "I can't believe you did this. Give me my keys right now, and all of you get the fuck out of here." And he left. That's it. But it all happened. He had the money. He had the stack of cash, and they weren't counterfeit bills. You know.
It was his, like.
It was his money, but they weren't his keys, because the real owner came back. And then her husband never let me go out alone with her.